Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about organisational breakdown structures, or OBSs. If you like this video, I put them out every week on various project management topics, so click subscribe and click the bell if you want notifications. On to business. Organisational breakdown structures. You see these in all organisations. It's basically a family tree of who works where. You start at the top with the CEO or the managing director, and then you're moving down to see, and it shows the hierarchy. Quite often you'll have people's photographs, their names, their phone numbers, so you can work out who reports into where and what their job is and who you can ask your questions to. Now you may also have one of these on a project, but it'll be slightly different because quite often on a project you don't line manage people within the project. You'll have people outside the project who are line managing your team. The lines generally don't mean line management, they mean more sort of supervisory management. If you want to know more about organisational structures with projects, I'll link above to my video on the sort of pros and cons of the different types of organisational structure. But back onto OBSs. Once you have an OBS, what do you do with it? It's useful to stick on the wall and then people know who everyone is, but what more can you do as a project manager? Because you know your team, you should know your team. What you can do is you can link it to the WBS. So there's the OBS, the organisational breakdown structure, and the WBS, the work breakdown structure. This is basically a list of tasks, a hierarchy of tasks, but really it's a list of tasks. You then make a chart with these lists of tasks, with down here, every single task, and along here, every single person. And then what you can do is you can tick who is related to each task. Once you've done that, you then do something called a RACI, or a RACI, to show how each person is related to each task. RACI stands for R, responsible, A, accountable, C, consulted, and I for informed. Starting with responsible. Responsible means you are the person who carries out that task. If you're doing a shipbuilding thing, that will be a welder. If you're doing, I don't know, a house building project, you'll be bricklayers and people like that. It will be the person on the ground who actually does the work. Not their manager, the person who actually does the work. Then we have accountable. This is the person who will be in trouble if it doesn't get on. Obviously the person responsible, it is part of their job to get it done, but the accountable person needs to make sure it's happening. This might be a team leader, it might be the project manager, it might be the project sponsor for more high-level tasks. Generally you'll find that you'll kind of have the accountable person, then a level or so down will be the responsible person. So once you've worked out who is accountable and responsible for each task, they can also use this RACI. They need to know who needs to be informed and consulted about each task on the WBS. So consulted and informed are kind of the opposite of each other. Informed means that they need to know when the job is done. So the bricklayer does the bricks, and then the painter needs to know to come and paint the bricks. So they will be someone who needs to be informed. It may simply be that they just need to know because they need to know when the task is happening so it doesn't get in the way of their work. There could be loads of reasons. Whereas consulted means you need to go and ask that person and check with them before you start. It may be because they're in an advisory role. It may be they're a subject matter expert. It may be that they don't want the work to get in the way of another person's work. So once you've classified each task, linked it to a person and classified how they relate to it, you've then got a RACI matrix. So why don't you let me know? Comment below, have you used a RACI matrix in your projects? Has it been useful? Is it something that you're now going to implement because it's a really cool idea? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe if you want to see more content, press the bell if you want to be notified, and goodbye.